You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop.
Good evening and welcome into the Sporting Times. Thank you for tuning in. What a fantastic month for high school sports. And to help me kind of recap what's been going on with the Lady Purples at the state championship, Taryn Johnson.
Hey,
Taryn.
hey, Doug. Thank you so much for having me on.
You know, what an amazing first game the Lady Purples had. And of course, we're going to get an update, or we will update the second game that they had here in a few minutes. But a double overtime game to start off a championship, amazing.
Yeah, Doug. And, you talk about this Lady Purples team. Last year, being within just a few hours of heading to Lexington to play in the Sweet 16 tournament. Obviously, that all gets canceled, but this year coming back, and in their first game, opening round, having a double overtime win is really impressive. And their first win in the Sweet 16 tournament in 10 years, their second all-time, but yet they're able to pull it out. Really impressive performance by the Lady Purples.
Yeah, and talk about impressive. This young lady has been getting the job done all season long. Kayla James has just been killing it. I mean, just rebounding and her offensive production. But talk about what she did on the boards.
Yeah, Doug. So she posted double-double, a monstrous double-double, 15 points, 19 rebounds. But, Doug, this is something that I love in the stat sheet. The 19 rebounds, that's an eye-popping stat, right?
That's crazy.
But of those 19 rebounds, she has 7 offensive boards. That provides the Lady Purples with 7 separate chances to get second-chance points. And in a game that comes down to the wire in double overtime and is decided ultimately by 2 points, that's the type of stat line that shifts the momentum of a game. So when Kayla James, just an absolutely dominant performance, and 19 rebounds with 7 of those coming on the offensive side of the glass is very impressive by her.
Yeah, and the sophomore Meadow Tisdale did what she does. She scored 14 points. But the shot of the game came from junior point guard Emma Husky, who hits that 3 in the second overtime to put them in front for good.
Yeah, Emma has 8 points on the afternoon. Only shoots 1 3-pointer, with that being the lone 3-point shot attempt. And Bowling Green, that's the only made 3 of the entire game, regulation and both overtime periods. Yeah. It's really cool to see that kind of come to fruition there.
Yeah, and another thing about Emma is she just came back in the region championship from a shoulder injury. Yeah. She was out for weeks and weeks. And she's the second leading rebounder in that game. And if you've ever seen Emma Husky, she is a petite point guard, right?
Yeah.
She's not 5'10".
She's not the most physically dominant player out there, but she just has a way to find the ball. Yeah. And that's ultimately what matters, Doug. And that's the sign of a great basketball player. Yeah. Doesn't matter how physically imposing they are or aren't, they're able to find a way to the ball. They know how the ball careens off the iron, when they're going for rebounds and that sort of thing. And that is certainly Emma Husky. And all year long, Doug, I feel like we've talked about the Lady Purples getting these reinforcements by the time the postseason comes around. And that is exactly what happened with Emma Husky, and it led to their first win in the Sweet 16 tournament.
Yeah, and one thing about Emma is she's not afraid to mix it up.
Yeah.
She is small in stature. I mean, she's average, but she will mix it up. She'll get into the paint, and 5 rebounds. You can't do that from the 3-point line.
That's exactly right.
So an amazing effort by all of the Purples, especially after coming so close last year. You know that the momentum had to be going. Not momentum, but just the energy and the anxiety of being out there. But man, what a great effort. And what can you say about it?
Yeah, really happy for them. Really impressed by their opening round performance.
So anyway, let's get a quick update on the Purples as they took on Sacred Heart in the second round of the Kentucky High School Athletic Association Girls State Basketball Championship. The Bowling Green Lady Purples conclude their 2020-21 basketball season with a record of 19-11, losing to Sacred Heart Academy in the second round of the Kentucky High School Athletic Association's Girls Sweet 16 basketball tournament. The Lady Purples were led by sophomore Tanaya Bailey with 15 points. Kayla James had a double-double, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Meadow Tisdale, 11 points, 6 rebounds, and senior Kaya Gray had 9 points. The Purples will be saying goodbye to their starter Kaya Gray. However, they will be bringing back a host of starters next year, led by Linkayla James, Meadow Tisdale, Tanaya Bailey, Ava Bennett, and a host of other Bowling Green Lady Purples. Congratulations to the Lady Purples, the coaching staff, the fan base, and all the Purples out there. Congratulations. Welcome back. One of my favorite baseball coaches in the 4th region is starting his 11th season as the head coach of the South Warren Spartans. My guest, Chris Gage, joins us now. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
You know, I got to rewind for a little bit, and we talked about this a little bit off air, but you and I contacted you March 18th, 2020, and I wanted to do an audio interview with you, and that's right when that's when everything was going off the rails. And I listened to that interview last night, and you and we were, I'm older than you are, obviously, but you and I were both, we were both kind of just getting through that interview, trying to stay positive. But, you know, I've asked a lot of coaches and student athletes what they did during the off season. But now that we're here and you look back a year ago, it was just an amazing time. It was surreal.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely different. Obviously, I wasn't very optimistic, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
I remember talking to some other coaches like Coach McGuire at Logan County, and some people thought that we would be back, but it didn't look good at the time, I don't think. And it proved to be pretty devastating, especially to the seniors. That's who I feel the worst for, you know, those senior kids. And some of them I had since they were like 8 years old, like an Adam Burns and stuff like that. So felt really bad for those seniors.
It was really bizarre. And, you know, you and I had talked. The interview was prior to them actually canceling the season. So we were still kind of, like you said, maybe we can get some things in, maybe we can. It's going to be outdoors. In hindsight, you know, who knows? I know that they had the All-Star game, I believe, was that June or July that they had that?
Yeah, I was there. I mean, I coached in it. I helped Coach Jaggers, I should say, in that game. And I can't remember if it was late June or early July, but that was a great thing that the Hot Rods did for those kids. Letting the kids go out one more time so they got some sort of kind of closure to their career, if you will. But that was a really, really good event they had. It
was a great event, and not only for the student athlete, but for the media. I know that we were all very excited that there was going to be a live sporting event. And I just wondered, as a coach, you know, was it different for you to go back and help coach that game, maybe than just the regular season type of thing, knowing that, hey, we're getting back out here?
Oh, it was great. I wasn't very optimistic about that, you know, because we hadn't had any games or anything like that. So I didn't know. When you put a high school game in a minor league ballpark like that with all that seating, sometimes it looks really empty. And I was shocked when that game started to see, I guess people were so desperate for a live event. Those high school senior kids, I mean, their families and fans, everybody came out, and it was a great atmosphere, and it was a big crowd. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was an excellent event. And, you know, Coach, one of the things that I did last night prepping was I typically go back and I look at, you know, what the region did the year before, and it's just a natural thing. I went back and I was like, wait a second, there's nothing here. Those sophomores that were there are now seniors. You know, as a coach coming into this season, is it just basically starting from square one?
Yeah, I think it is. For our team, I think there's some other teams, you know, you have like a Bowling Green and a Greenwood that have had some players playing quite a bit as sophomores, and they're returning. Our team, happened to be very successful in the last season that we had, but it was an older team. So they all graduated that year. And then the next year, those kids didn't get to play. And right now, the only thing we have left from that region championship team is 2 kids that played about 30% of the time, and another guy that pitched about, he was one of our number 3 pitcher at the time. So he had some experience. So we got 3 kids with any measurable experience. So it's completely unknown how we're going to be this year. We played 2 games, and it's still a complete unknown because we played really poorly in one game, and then we played really well in the next game. So
I think there's a lot of unknown around the region. One thing for sure, I want to talk to you about your football roster. You got 36 guys. We're going to take a short break, Coach. When we come back, we'll talk more about that. We'll be right back. More of the Sporting Time right here on WNKY NBC 40.
The ST Show is on WNKY 40 NBC. For the athletes, for the game.
Welcome back. Again, Chris Gage, the head coach of the Spartan baseball program, joins me. Coach, I mentioned kind of funny, 36 guys on your roster. That is kind of a football program type of smaller program, but South Warren has got a great tradition in baseball. You built that program. You started it from scratch. Such success. Obviously, there's a lot of student athletes that want to play on this team.
Yeah, we do have a good tradition. And you know, when you say I built it, it was really, I remember when we were getting going, I had Coach Doug Gildy helping me. And he's a great baseball guy. And we sat down and laid out how we wanted it to be, and maybe identify some areas where we can gain an advantage possibly or something like that. And we thought a really strong JV program would do that. So we've run 2 JV teams for basically since we started this program.
Wow.
And we think that helps because there's a lot of kids that come to us as freshmen and we don't know how they're going to be down the road. So we end up keeping them and they end up sorting themselves out though. If we can give them a year or 2 in the program, a lot of them, you know, blossom into some of our best players, and you wouldn't have never thought that.
Right.
You know, the one that comes to mind is like a Trey Cartley, who was one of our best hitters at the end of the year, you know, one year and then into the state tournament. And at the beginning of the year as a sophomore, you know, we didn't even know that he'd be a part of our program the next year, but then he became one of our best players. Yeah. So, you know, we like to keep them and build a strong program and get a push from the bottom of the roster. And we think that helps the top of the roster.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, feeder programs and junior varsity programs are so huge, and it really does pay dividends when the student athlete gets a little bit older. Now, Coach, as a student athlete has been off now for a while, do you notice like conditioning, or is it maybe fundamentals? Is it again technical stuff? Are you seeing that more coming into this season, or did the kids not lose that much?
No, they had lost quite a bit, and we tried to get them going in the fall. And the county, I think the city was operating on a little different. Every school district was operating on different rules, it seemed like. So we were limited in the fall, but we tried to give them some reps in the fall to try to get them back.
Yeah.
A big advantage that Chris Decker and Terry Cook set up, you know, the athletic director and the principal, the original principal here, was they encouraged multiple sport athletes. And I think that helps us a lot. You know, if guys are playing football or they're playing basketball also, that helps with the conditioning and keeping their feet moving. And, you know, we're not big on guys just trying to concentrate on one sport. They get a lot better. They're a lot better baseball player if they're moving their feet in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as far as attendance goes, Coach, are there any limitations for fans that want to come out to a South Warren home game or to any of the county school games?
Yeah, there is. It keeps changing. I know that. So I just go by what our athletic director texts me each time, and it literally changed 2 or 3 times the week before the season started, like 40%. Then I think it was up to 50%. And then they have to figure out what is 50% because we have some different kind of seating arrangements at our field with the berm and the deck and all
Sure.
that kind of stuff. So there should be. I don't foresee us having to turn people away. Maybe in a big district game, it's a possibility. But the way our AD is doing it is, I think we're on the Go Fan. So, except this weekend, we're hosting one of the hosts of the Warren County tournament, and that's pay at the gate kind of thing. But
Sure.
other than that, all the games will be, you have to buy the tickets online before you come, and those will be tweeted out. The links to those will be tweeted out.
Well, Coach, we got about a minute left here. A couple quick questions. Are you a little bit more laid back now that you're in your 11th season? Are you going to go after the umpires this season as hard as you have in the past? I mean, what do you think here?
You're trying to get me in trouble, huh? I don't know. I think everybody mellows a little bit with age or whatever. The last region we got there, the last season that we played was big. That was my son's senior year.
Yeah.
My dad had passed away just before the season.
Oh.
So that was a big thing. I don't want to say we're complacent or whatever, but it was very satisfying to win that last time. As far as the umpires go, those guys are great. But you do you are the only one. I never want our players to talk to the umpires.
Well,
but we have to defend them.
Coach, you do a great job. I was just kidding you. You and I are going to go out and play some golf. You're going to give me strokes. Thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on the diamond. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. Again, we want to thank Coach Chris Gage for being our guest today. Man, he is so much fun. He's got a really funny personality. Seems to be always laid back. When I'm near him at the dugout, and they're very nice to the Sporting Times. They allow us to go in and shoot photos from the dugout. But he also knows the game of baseball, and he has a lot of interesting strategies that he employs.
Yeah, Doug. To coach in one place for 11 seasons, you kind of have to know the game of baseball, I imagine, to sustain that type of success. But I love those coaches that are laid back, that just kind of bring that presence with them of being relaxed and, no matter the situation. The situation's never too big for him. I love that.
Yeah, he's a crafty coach. I'm going to say that. But, talking about longevity, Sam Royce over at Glasgow High School, I believe he's been the head coach there for 34 consecutive years.
Wow.
It could be 35.
Wow.
I kind of got thrown off with the season last year, but I think it's 34 or 35. But what about that?
Wow.
I mean, that's an amazing one school.
Yeah.
The head coach. And he's retired from teaching. He's coaching.
Wow.
But he loves it.
That's crazy. That's so cool. That's astounding. 35 years ago, I was not even a twinkle in my parents' eye at that point in time, Doug. That's a long time, man. That's really cool though to be in one place and to love it that much. To be able to coach that long is incredible.
Yeah, and when we do the media days for baseball, softball, and we will bring those back again. We'll start off with football this fall. We will have a volleyball media day, followed by boys and girls basketball, followed by baseball and softball. This year, though, we felt that, with everybody just trying to get traction, and we thought it might be best to just wait.
Man, I can't wait till those football media days, though, Doug. I don't mean to interrupt you there, but when those media days do start to come back, I agree, you're right. It may be a little too soon to bring those back, but hopefully by football season, by the time that we get rolling and starting the preparation for football season, we'll be able to have those in person and have more of a sense of normalcy too.
Yeah, no question about it. But Coach Royce, when we do the baseball media day, we always allot him a little extra time, right? I call him the godfather of baseball. But the stories that he tells and just the things that he talks about, the media that's there, they love it.
Yeah.
So our media days could go on for 4 hours if if we could.
Yeah.
But we can't. I mean, it's just too long. But anyway, look forward to more media days coming up. I made some notes about baseball and softball. Interesting, the Greenwood Gators, coached by Jason Jaggers, another fantastic coach with a lot of years, played for Greenwood as a player. They're 3-3 on the season, but he scheduled a really, really tough schedule. And one of them was McCracken County. He had a doubleheader. And again, he's 3-3. They lost to McCracken twice. McCracken from Region 1 is 5-0. But they have scored 57 runs, McCracken County, in 5 games.
Oh, my gosh.
Right?
Wow.
So they're, but that's the way Coach Jaggers is doing it. He's bringing really good top programs so his guys can see that early on. And, any of the coaches I know, whether it's baseball, softball, or basketball, that pays dividends in postseason.
Absolutely. McCracken County sounds like the Cincinnati Reds of the high school realm here. They are on fire, but yeah, you're right, Doug. Coach Jaggers is the man. When I first started here, he welcomed me in, gave me all the coaches' contact numbers, and has been really great. But that Greenwood squad, yes, sir. Scheduling a tough schedule, just like we saw in the football season, Doug, with Coach Spader and the Bowling Green Purples. Yeah. Having a championship schedule like that, especially in the regular season, will prepare the team for the postseason. And when we get to the postseason, the Greenwood Gators will not feel too, they won't feel like the moment's too big because they've already been in these moments throughout the regular season.
Right.
So
we
have seen that pay dividends.
You're absolutely right. Warren Central right now for baseball is 0-2. Warren East 2-1, coached by Wes Sanford, another coach that's been here for a long, long time, the most superstitious head baseball coach. I'm going to say it right now, Coach Sanford. You're going to be on the show, even though you think it's superstitious to be on it. I'm going to invite you on. South Warren 1-1. Softball, Warren East, Philip McKinney, man, he's got him going 4-2 on the season. South Warren is 3-0. Coach Reynolds has got those Lady Spartans getting after it. Woo! We're just starting.
Oh, we're just getting started, baby.
All right, listen, thank you very much for joining in. Have a great week. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Have a great week and good night.